Konnichiwa.
Hey guys, welcome back to our channel.
Yeah.
This time we are going to talk about how we met.
Yeah, and we're here today in Japan. You'll see behind us is Lake Kawaguchi, one of the 5 lakes around the base of Mount Fuji. And we'll show some pictures of Mount Fuji in the end of in the credits.
Okay,
But yeah, so how did we meet?
so we basically met on a dating apps called CDFF,
Which stands for
Christian Dating for Free.
Christian Dating for Free.
It is 100% free,
Yes.
but you have the ads.
And we'll put a link in the doobly-doo, so you
Yeah.
guys can all join up, give them some support, or recommend it to other individuals who are looking to date, have a strong faith background, and you don't have to be a particular denomination. Any kind of Christian will do, but it's nice because that app allows you to kind of pre-select if you only want to date within a certain denomination, or only look at profiles for people who are interested in having kids or not having kids, or
Yeah.
someone who drinks socially or doesn't drink at all.
Okay,
Or,
it's long.
yeah.
Okay. So, what brought you to my profile?
I guess I don't really know, like, quote unquote, exactly what I was looking for. Not that I didn't know the kind of woman I wanted, but just trying to, I guess, find somebody with my deep sense of faith and family. And I feel like that's a little harder to find than you would guess, even on a Christian dating app. I know you and I both met some individuals through online dating that, had a faith background, but necessarily didn't have the strong feelings that we both do for what a relationship between a man and a woman should be. And we both want to have kids. That's
We want
become
to,
less common.
yeah. So basically, I was looking for a guy that is mature enough and spiritual enough, and also is family oriented,
Yeah.
and if possible, having the same interest like homeschooling, homesteading, and gardening, traveling, and all those things.
Yeah.
So when you come across my profile, you don't really like having the bravery to send me a message instead, but you put me on the wink and on the favorites. So I was dealing with a lot of scammers and crazy guys on that dating apps too. So I was like, this guy is looking for problem with me. He's trying to make me mad because he kept coming back to my profile, but he don't send me any message. So I always hesitate to send a message first to guys, because if I like what they wrote on their profile, I would just send them wink, and I will see if they will message me first.
Yeah.
But the case of you don't message me first. And I was like, should I message him first? This is inappropriate.
So to be fair, I think I'd only found you like the day before, if I remember correctly. But on CDFF, at least at that time, you could send someone a wink, like basically expressing some interest in them, and then you could like their page. And I was probably using the winks and likes a little differently than you were, but I had also been like talking with like 3 to 5 other individuals, just trying to get to know them. And I was very new to CDFF. Specifically, I'd used some other stuff.
I
in the
used
past.
CDFF like 2 or 3 years.
Yeah. And actually, when your profile, and you're going to laugh at this because you'll remember more of the story from what I'm going to say, but when I came across your profile, I didn't believe it was real. With the background that I have working in tech and security, I'm very aware of scams and scammers. And
So I will put my profile over here, guys,
Okay,
so
yeah.
you can see how unreal is it.
well, there was a couple things that I flagged as being suspicious, and the first ones honestly were the pictures. I saw her pictures and I thought, wow, these look like a couple of them might have been ripped from a magazine. There's one picture in particular I just thought, wow, she looks like a model, and this is clearly a professional photo. And I know I'm embarrassing her, and maybe she still doesn't believe me, but that's the common tactic scammers use, is they find pictures of pretty women who are already famous, and they throw them into the profiles they're generating. And then when I read through all the things in her profile, and she actually had written quite a bit, I was like, wow, if anyone in the world wanted to scam me specifically, this is exactly what they would write. Because everything you had written was like, this is my dream, this is important to
Yeah.
me, this is, oh man, why didn't I put that in my profile? That's super important. And even from the first like conversations we had, I kept thinking like, how is she reading my mind?
Like, we have so many things in common,
Yeah.
and like we don't have any difficulty to start the conversation.
No, not
The
at all.
conversation is
The
just
problem was
keep
stopping
going.
it. The problem was stopping the conversation. The first 3 days, I feel like we talked for many, many, many hours each of the first couple
Yeah.
days. And then we talked every single day, I think without fail, for like, what, the next 60 or something?
So the case with us, after we started talking, and then I said that don't wasting my time, because I'm not here for drama anymore. I just break up that day, and
Was it that very same day?
not that very same day,
Okay.
but like 1 month.
Recently. Okay.
Yeah, 1 month earlier, and
And it had been a long relationship.
yeah, like almost 3 years.
And
Still
so-
long distance.
The first thing on your mind was, I don't want to waste time with someone anymore.
Yeah.
And the relationship you had was pretty good, but it wasn't moving anywhere.
Yeah, just no clear goals.
Yeah.
The guy is great guy, but he just, maybe he's still dealing with himself and trying to
Right.
figure out what he really wants with his career and everything, and not really investing so much in our long distance relationship yet.
Right.
But then I feel like it's already 3 years, and if it has no clear goals, then we better not continue.
Yeah, 3 years is a long time. I feel like, especially for the woman, and maybe this is just my, oh, careful. It's
No, it's
okay.
okay.
No, it's okay. Just curious.
So then I was so strong in the beginning that if you are not serious,
Yes.
don't wasting my time. You better leave, something like that.
Well, and I feel like it's particularly easy for the man, if he's not taking a leadership role, for the woman to start to feel frustrated, because you don't really know where you are in the relationship. You're trying not to control because you want a man who's gonna lead for
Yeah.
you, and you're also kind of starting to feel like, okay, where are we? If you're
Yeah.
not going anywhere, the relationship in a way starts to die. Even if things are good and you're not fighting and you can have good conversation, there's still like, you gotta grow that relationship, get to know them, get to know their family, make plans to meet, especially in a long distance
Yeah.
relationship. That's
Yeah.
so important.
There's supposed to be clear goals and good communication, I
Yeah.
think. And
And-
then,
So after hearing like a little bit of your story, I knew how important that was, even without you making it as explicitly clear as you did. But I also wanted to have enough time before we would say jump into the relationship. And what I mean by that is, like, our first conversation, we talked about the differences between dating and courtship, and we'll talk about that in
Yeah.
another video. But
Yeah.
we both had agreed up front that we
will
wanted to
go-
take the relationship very seriously. And so I told you well, I would say God told me to tell you that we would know, was it 60 days or 90 days?
Well, we will give it the limit like 90 days is the
Yeah.
max.
Yeah.
If we don't match and we don't have the clear goals
Right.
between us, then we will stop.
Yeah. So basically, if we weren't courting within 90 days and moving in the direction of marriage, and that didn't mean we had to get married, but
We know that.
start taking that seriously, we would not waste each other's time. And
Yeah.
I think that was good, but I know that was still hard for you because after a while, there was still some sense of anticipation. But did it make you feel better to have some sort of time limit on it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then we started from the day we met, December 10,
Yep.
and then our limit is 90 days since the meeting.
Right.
So by the day 60,
Yep.
we decided that we want to go with courtship.
Yes.
We start out courtship,
Yes. We did.
and from February to after that we decided that we want to engage. Well,
We didn't decide immediately we were going to get engaged. Obviously, we got to know each other more
Yeah.
through courtship, but we were talking all the time. Even before we began courting, we were spending a tremendous amount of time talking. And one thing that was so great about our relationship, and I know every relationship's a little different, but we had so many things to talk about, so much interest in common, so much depth in what we talked about, and so many good questions that we just never got bored. And it didn't mean that we never had moments of silence or,
yeah,
even moments that we didn't have anything to say at that moment because we were just enjoying, the other person being there. But
and I think the most crucial part is that we both know what we want in
Yeah.
a person.
yeah, that helped a lot.
It helped with the navigate of the relationship. Like if you
Yeah.
don't still don't know what you want, you're gonna be messed up with other person's time. You will make them wait with no certainty. But then because we already going through the breakups, and okay, now I know what I want,
Yes.
and it make it easier to figure it out. And as we keep talking, we realize that we have so many much in common, so many more in common.
I would say that we knew from the beginning that we had a ton in common and almost didn't believe each other when one person would start talking about a subject that the other person was like, oh, well, that's really important to me too. It almost seemed like it really did seem for a while like we were trying to scam each other, right?
Yeah.
In fact,
We call each other scammers.
yeah, I gave her nickname Scammer 1 and she called me Scammer 2 just in case, it gave us a little bit of separation emotionally as we were getting emotionally attached. But it was nice because, being in a long distance relationship, I know it's hard and a lot of people struggle with it. And you in particular, it's been harder on you probably than on me. But we really did get to know each other. It wasn't about any sort of physicality or a nice date. And part of what I was going to say a moment ago is we tried to watch some movies. Like there's some different apps. If you guys want some more info on that, we put it in the comments. We can give you some good info. But we tried to watch some movies together. One movie we started.
We never finished the movie because
Yeah.
we have so many things to talk about. Like we
The
don't have
movie
any
we
other entertainment.
started, we probably, did we get halfway through it?
No, like 30% of
Okay.
it.
It's been 2 years and we've never finished a single movie.
Yeah. So I think the most interesting part about finding a life partner is you find a person that you really like to talk to.
Yeah.
And you know that they will listen to you when you talk, and you will listen to them.
And someone you have interest with other than just being entertained, right? Someone you want to go do something with. So that hobby that you feel like you've got to find your little friend group of, that doesn't mean like all of them, but the ones that are the most meaningful to you, find a person that either has those interests already or is willing to explore and
Willing
become
to grow,
interested.
yeah. Being open-minded and
Because at the end of the day, like you're gonna want to grow old with someone who you can do more than just watch a good movie with, right? Because I can
yeah.
watch a good movie with a stranger or with a friend I met, yesterday, but the person I want to be sitting, on the front porch with when I'm 80 and looking back, and when we maybe don't even watch TV anymore, is
Yeah.
someone I can have good conversation with, and same same faith background, same desires and dreams.
I mean, beside the conversation, like you feel comfortable enough to talk to that person. Same faith, same values is make it strong.
Yeah. Yeah. And really, like, even if you don't have a faith background, I encourage you to find someone who's got the same, at least, morals beyond, the real basics. Someone who you can agree with on parenting style, someone
Finance.
on finances. That's really important. We'll talk more about that another time. But someone that it's not just shallow, and I think that's really kind of the difference we'll probably highlight later when we talk more about courting versus dating. But a lot of people today are struggling to find partners that they stay with. In fact, a lot of marriages today aren't lasting more than a couple years, and I think a big part of that is people meet and they have a really fun date together, and they're like, oh, that was fun. Well, of course it was. All the things you did were fun. You had a good meal. You went and did something you wouldn't normally do that was kind of exciting, and you would have enjoyed that experience if it was just you. But when you can find someone who you can do the boring things with,
Yeah. Yeah.
and still enjoy life with that person, they make it more special. They challenge you, they make you laugh, they get you to see things in a different way, and they also still have that foundational agreement. That's a life worth living with someone.
Yeah. And in a relationship, I think people don't focus on being in each other's best friend.
Yeah.
They keep going like, okay, he looks nice, he's cool, the first date is good, but
Right.
they don't develop the friendship, like making mistake, expecting the other person to make mistake, and forgiving each other and keep moving forward, and to overcome every obstacles and every problem happening between these two person. And at the end of the day, you will say, this is my best friend.
Yeah.
Yeah. So many people being so rushed into relationship and then into marriage and
Right.
into parenting, they don't really prepare for that.
Well, and to add to that, I think a lot of people are, they think of like someone they might want to marry as someone they must have some sort of romantic relationship with. But really, what they're looking for when they're starting this dating is they're looking for someone that they have some like attraction to, and that's fine. I think that's important, but that's not like the crux of what romanticism is. A romantic partner is someone that you have as like a best friend, because you have the layers and the depth. It's not just something shallow, superficial, where you think you have physical chemistry or something like that. And so if you want the romantic relationship, I encourage you to start with the emotional, with the spiritual, with the finding a best friend, exactly like what you were saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also having God as the center of that
Yeah.
make everything, like, even though we are facing a lot of problems, visa things and many more, but like having God and having the other person with you make it secure no matter what. So when people start step away from God, it is when they deal with a lot of fear.
Yeah. And for those of you who are agnostic or maybe don't have any faith or anything like that, just think of it this way: like what she's trying to say is, when we have this foundational belief that we don't have to be in control, that there's a higher power, whether you believe it or not, that's fine, but that we don't try to control every aspect. That is very freeing. And that doesn't mean that we don't take responsibility. In fact, we kind of have more responsibility, but it takes the stress off of us trying to control life, trying to control fate. And we realize that there is a good creator out there who both draws us deeper together and has given us a perfect reflection of what love should look like. And from a biblical perspective, a marriage relationship, and many of you guys might not know this, but that marriage was instituted in the Jewish tradition, and continued in the Christian tradition to reflect the love of God and man, or the love of Christ and his church. And so in the same way that, Christ sacrificed himself for his church, a man is supposed to want to do that for his wife. And I think a lot of men naturally do, even those who aren't believers. But then, a woman having the adoration and respect of the church for her man and can trust him as a leader because she knows he's putting her first. That's like the foundation of everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
So basically that is our story.
Yeah.
And we are engaged.
We are engaged 16 months ago now.
Yeah, preparing for our wedding. But we hope you guys, if you are struggling with finding a life partner, and if it seems not possible to find like between the same countries, it's okay to try find somebody overseas, even though you will face many negative comments from the people around you, even family members. Many don't believe that long distance relationship is work, but have faith in it and do your best.
Right.
Yeah, if God is willing, you can find.
You
can get a good deal.
And we'll talk more about long distance relationships as well another time. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments. And again, if you are looking, I think the two big takeaways for me today, and if you have one, that's great, is check out CDFF. We'll put a link in the description, and you can download the app as well. It works both on Android and iPhone. They're a great company putting out a service that usually costs a lot of money. And for anyone who's explored the online dating space, you know that it can cost a lot for those subscriptions. And then the other takeaway, I think, for me was something you had mentioned earlier, which was knowing what you want is so important before you begin to look. Because if you
it gives you direction.
If you don't know who you want to be with, or the kind of person, or the things you don't want, you're going to find someone, you're going to find some things you like about them, and you're going to find yourself eventually starting to compromise in ways that you normally wouldn't. And you'll end up having to give up parts of yourself that you don't want to, or you'll find someone that you like certain parts of them a lot, but there's other parts that, once you get married, you're going to have to find a way to deal with it, or at least if you understand marriage in a commitment way, So, anything else? What's your takeaway from the day?
The takeaway is don't afraid to try something that is abnormal, like finding somebody overseas through the dating apps, because even my friends still having so many fear trying things like that, and they are single until today. It is not something that is the Bible say no at all, but it is just unusual way. So have faith, keep praying, and do your best. And nothing is impossible if God is willing.
I'm sure someone in the comments knows it, but I think it's from a famous movie or a famous coach. It's a sports reference, but it's an old saying that you miss 100% of the shots you never shoot for. So, all right.
So thank you guys.
See
you
next time, probably again from Japan.